I was on my last tour of deployment. The desert heat had a way of burning through the skin, but nothing seared me like her words. I was crouched in a tent, headset pressed against my ear, the sandstorm outside rattling the metal like the world was trying to claw its way in. She was on the line. Her voice wasn't trembling. It was steady, almost proud. "I'm pregnant." I closed my eyes, letting the silence between us stretch. For a second, I allowed myself to imagine her smile, the one I used to return to after long deployments. Then she spoke again, a blade cutting clean. "But it's not yours. It's my boss's. We're getting married. I want a divorce." The words didn't echo, they stabbed, and stayed lodged inside me. I didn't shout, I didn't beg, I simply paused. My heartbeat slowed, my breathing leveled. "Congratulations," I said, and I hung up. I stared at the dust swirling beneath the single bulb above me. Then I reached for my other phone, the one I only used for calls that changed the course of things. One number, one ring, one instruction. A month later she called me again. Her sobs cracked through the line. "You didn't have to go this far." I let her words bleed into the silence, then answered, calm and cold, "It's just beginning." The next morning, she would wake up to a headline she could never erase. At first, I thought maybe the sand had seeped into my ears. Maybe I'd misheard her through static and distance. But the truth doesn't bend, it cuts, and she had carved me open with precision. My wife. The woman who sent me letters scented with her perfume, who signed her notes with "Forever yours." The one who pressed her hand against my chest before every deployment and whispered, "Come back to me." Forever had an expiration date. I replayed her words in the dark silence of the barracks. Pregnant. Not mine. Her boss. Marriage. Divorce. The pieces aligned into a grotesque puzzle. While I was dodging bullets, she was building a new life with another man. While I was bleeding for strangers, she was lying in another bed. The betrayal wasn't just in her words, it was in the timing. She didn't wait for me to come home. She didn't hide it. She wanted me to hear it while I was thousands of miles away, powerless. But she miscalculated. Distance doesn't weaken me, it sharpens me. I moved like nothing had changed, ate with the unit, went on patrol, carried out orders. But inside, my thoughts were knives. I began with small steps, quiet inquiries. A friend back home checking property records. Another tracing her new habits through social media shadows. A number pulled from a phone log. His number, her boss. A man who smiled too wide in company photos. Married once, divorced twice. The kind of predator who wore a tie like armor and used charm as a weapon. The reports trickled in. Dinner receipts, hotel bookings, late nights logged at his office that didn't end in paperwork. I felt the sting of it, but I never flinched outwardly. My anger was a locked chamber, soundproof, airtight. When I returned from patrol at night, I wrote in silence. Dates, times, connections, a web tightening around them both. I didn't need confrontation yet. Confrontation was crude. I wanted precision. I wanted her to realize, too late, that I had been watching, even from oceans away. The final proof arrived in a plain envelope. DNA results. The child she carried belonged to him. I didn't rage. I didn't crumble. I simply stared at the lines of text, the percentages that bound them together and cut me out entirely. When I returned home, I didn't announce myself. I walked into the house we once called ours. She looked startled, then guilty. She tried to explain. Words tumbled. Excuses, justifications, half-truths. I placed the envelope on the table. "What's this?" she whispered. I didn't answer. I just let her read. Her hands shook. Her lips trembled. Tears filled her eyes, but my own remained dry. When she finally looked at me, broken, All I said was, "I already knew." The silence that followed was louder than any scream. I didn't leave immediately. That would have been too merciful. Instead, I let her sit in the silence as I explained. Not about us, not about love lost, but about him, her boss, the man she trusted her future to. I told her about the call I made, the one she didn't know about, the one that set in motion an investigation far larger than me. Fraud, embezzlement, corruption. His empire rotting from the inside. This morning, she would see his face splashed across every screen, handcuffed, exposed, ruined. Her sobs turned desperate. "You didn't have to do this." But I wasn't looking at her. I was staring at the envelope, at the proof that my life had been rewritten without my consent. "This isn't about you," I said, and I meant it. She was collateral. He was the target. Her betrayal hurt. His downfall healed. By dawn, I was gone. I left the house unlocked, the papers unsigned, the silence heavy. I walked through the quiet streets, the air crisp, the sky bleeding pale light. My phone buzzed with alerts. News breaking. Her boss disgraced. His empire in ashes. I didn't smile. Revenge isn't joy, it's release. She would live with the wreckage she chose. The man she betrayed me for, reduced to a headline, a cautionary tale. The child she carried, fathered by a ghost of a man already erased. As for me, I felt nothing. No pity, no anger, no love. Only clarity. She once told me forever. I learned forever was just a word. Now, I had a new word. Finished.